Hey, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Okay, so I was reading about this idea of passive speakers, and it's honestly something I think a lot of us deal with without even knowing the name for it.
Totally. It's that frustrating middle ground where you understand everything someone is saying in English, but the second you try to speak, you just freeze up.
Exactly. And Aditi mentioned something that really stuck with me, that speaking isn't a talent you're born with. It's a skill you train, like a muscle in the gym.
Right. You aren't born with bench press muscles. You got to put in the work. And she talks about moving words from your passive vocabulary to your active one.
Wait, explain that, because I definitely have words I know but never actually use.
So think of the word severe. You know it means very serious, right? But if you're talking about a storm, you might just say a lot of damage instead of severe damage.
Oh, I do that all the time. I just go for the easiest, most basic word because it's active in my brain.
Exactly. The goal is to activate those passive words through repetition and real-life usage. Otherwise, you're just stuck recognizing them but never producing them.
That makes sense. She also mentioned something called comprehensible input. It sounds fancy, but is it just watching TV?
Sort of, but specifically stuff you can understand about 60 to 80% of. The idea is to use your imagination for the rest, like how kids learn language by looking at things while hearing the word.
So if I'm a total beginner, I should probably stick to cartoons.
Honestly, yes. Cartoons are great because the language is simple. If you're more intermediate, you could do podcasts or movies with subtitles. She even recommended Harry Potter.
I love Harry Potter. That's a win-win. But what about the thinking in English part? That feels like the hardest hurdle.
It's about cutting out the translation step. Instead of Hindi to English, you go straight to English. Aditi suggests labeling your world. Don't say kursi, say chair.
I like that. And then you start narrating your life, right? Like, I am cooking rice or I am brushing my teeth.
Exactly. And then you take it a step further, like I've been brushing for 10 minutes. The water is cold. Should I get warm water or ask my mom?
It sounds a little crazy talking to yourself, but I can see how it forces your brain to stay in that English zone.
And it helps with articulation, too. If you can't structure a thought in your head, it's never going to come out right when you speak. She suggests describing objects, like a bottle or a cup, to build a logical flow.
Right, so it's not just this is a cup, it's this is a cup, it's pink, I'm drinking coffee because I was craving it. It gives the conversation a purpose.
Precisely. It makes you a more meaningful speaker, not just someone throwing words around.
Man, there's a lot to practice. She even mentioned journaling as a way to structure those thoughts on paper first.
Definitely. It's all about consistency. You can't just listen, you have to do the self-study and the homework if you want to see that fluency actually happen.
Well, I'm definitely going to try the labeling thing in my kitchen today. Watch out, utensils. I'm coming for you.
Good luck. It's all about that practice.
All right, let's get into this language learning stuff. I was just looking at these techniques for mastering English, and honestly, some of them are pretty clever.
Oh, for sure. One of the big ones mentioned is shadowing. It's not just about repeating words, but literally standing in front of a mirror and copying everything. The emotions, the tone, even the mouth movements.
Wait, the mirror part is key? I usually just mumble to myself while I'm doing the dishes.
Well, the mirror helps you see the expressions. The material points out that language isn't just words, it's culture and structure. Like the phrase, tell me about it.
Right, because if you say it one way, you're asking for info. But if you say, oh, tell me about it, you're actually saying you relate to the person.
Exactly. The delivery changes the entire meaning. That's why they suggest copying kids' shows, movies, or even reels exactly as they are to get those nuances down.
That makes sense. It's like acting. What about the writing side of things? I saw something about journaling.
Yeah, the homework is to write a diary entry about the content you consumed, but specifically how it made you feel or how you describe it to someone else.
So it's more about explaining than just performing.
Exactly. English isn't a performance, it's about how well you can explain a concept. If you can describe a movie you just saw to a friend, you're winning.
I like that. It takes the pressure off being perfect. What was that third thing? Something about observation?
Right, observing the differences in styles, like how American and British English have completely different vibes and cultures. It's about noticing those tiny lip movements and shifts.
And the best part is, it's only, 15 minutes a day?
10 to 15 minutes. The claim is if you stick to this challenge for 60 days, you'll be fluent. It's all about that daily consistency.
60 days? I can do 15 minutes for 60 days. I might actually start tonight.
You should. It's all about building that habit.
Well, I'm sold. Thanks for breaking that down for me.
No problem. Catch you later.